coming to you from Brooklyn, New York. We moved. We have been here in New York since mid-March, which is why I hadn't posted a video since February. It turns out that moving is kind of stressful and disorienting, but we've been settling in, and yeah, it's been really good. I am going to take you all on a walk to a grocery store I've never been to before, and then we will eat our little snack that we get, and yeah, then come back here eventually and talk about making art. So I'll see you soon. I made it to the park. My snacks. I got spicy queso, pop chips, salami, and I have never tried, this is a fruit I found that I've never tried, sugar plums. I don't know, I'm assuming you can just eat a sugar plum, like raw, and I'm gonna do it now. You're not supposed to like cook them or anything, but here goes nothing. Pretty much tastes like a plum. It has a sourness at the start, but then it gets sweeter. Another one. Yeah, this one's a bit better and sweeter. They're good. I would definitely get them again. They're so cute. They're like kind of a yellowy red color. Like when they're riper, they're more red. So basically, I've been wanting to do this for a while, where I like walk to a place, try a new fruit or food that I haven't tried before, eat it for y'all in the spirit of like getting outside your comfort zone and doing something new and trying new things. Moving to New York is obviously in that vein of just like getting uncomfortable, trying something new. And why not just push that even further by trying a new snack? So I moved to New York. My fiance and I moved here in the middle of March, and we had sort of been planning this since, I would say maybe like June of last year. The motivation was kind of just that I was ready to be out of New Mexico. I have grown up in New Mexico and lived there my whole life, and I turned 30 actually earlier this month, and I just had been doing some reflection about like what I wanted to do in my life, and one of those things that I wanted to do and have always wanted to do is leave New Mexico. And it felt like there was some motivation or some momentum behind moving specifically to New York. I got a job here. I'm working at the New York Public Library, which is really exciting. The New York Public Library, if you don't know, is kind of like an institution here that carries a lot of weight, and the building that I work out of is like the flagship library building. It's incredible. It's like all marble. It's crazy that I work out of that building. Like, I don't even know how to comprehend it, but yeah, we're here, and it feels mostly good, you know? There are hard days, and then there are, I think the overarching feeling that I have is just that it has, because I feel here like everything is new and fresh. We're living in a new and fresh, you know, to us, apartment. There's great natural light. I think a lot of the like feelings I was having of feeling like I was in a rut in New Mexico have just dissipated. And on the flip side of that, it's almost like I feel so creatively energized here and just like inspired, and yeah, there's so much I want to do that I feel like overwhelmed by how fresh and new and excited and inspired I am. Sometimes to the point where like the way that my brain and body processes overwhelm is sometimes just by like freezing and not being able to like take steps in any direction because I'm so overwhelmed by like all of the new interesting ideas in my head. And it's like a good problem to have, clearly, but it's still sometimes one of those things that like I haven't learned a good way for me to deal with it yet. I know that the only thing I can do is take the next right step, the next smallest step that's going to like get me just going, just get that momentum behind me toward any project. But I don't know, sometimes the feeling of overwhelm is just so strong that I just do feel paralyzed for, I don't know, maybe a day or two before I'm able to like piece out what that next right step actually is. Yeah, so that's just something I've been thinking about, is like, oh, once you get out of that rut and then you do feel all this creative inspiration, like there's this flip side to that that can be negative as well, and you just have to learn how to process the feeling of overwhelm and make the next right steps for you to move forward. It's just been an adventure, you know? It's been different, and I have never moved away from home, so it just, everything feels like exciting and new, and probably not in the same way that I would have felt when I was 20, if I were moving away when I was 21, but it still feels just exciting. It feels exciting to be sitting in this park right by my apartment that's like full of nature, but like in the middle of a city. I don't know. It's been really good. I feel like there's so much possibility here. Some people were like kind of critical about us moving here, just saying things like, oh, it's expensive, it's like loud, it's a big city, like do you even like living in big cities? And the truth is, I don't really know. I studied abroad in Santiago, Chile, which is a big city, but like that was so long ago. It feels like I almost don't even remember if I liked it. I know I liked like being on the train and stuff like that. But people saying like, oh, do you even like big cities? Like, I don't know. I want to try it, and I want to let myself like fail at it, I guess, if I don't end up liking it. Sometimes you have to let people make their own mistakes and stop trying to prevent them from learning those things on their own. I was very aware with this move that it wasn't gonna fix anything about me or about the things I'm dissatisfied in my life. This isn't gonna change anything fundamentally. And I knew that, you know, that quote, wherever you go, there you are. Like, I'm the same person that I am here that I was in New Mexico, but here I feel comfortable and confident being more me. I do feel like I'm able to be more me here. And I think that a lot of times people don't think about that with like changing your environment in some way, moving to a new place. Like maybe you're not trying to be a different person somewhere else. Maybe you're just trying to have the freedom to be more of who you are. I know that I'm a really ambitious person, and I've been trying to figure out where to channel that ambition for a decade. It's basically what I've been trying to do for a decade in New Mexico, and it feels so much more natural here to channel that ambition somewhere that makes sense. The way that I process my emotions is by like writing about it, making videos about it, making art about it, all that I want is to learn how to feel comfortable and confident doing that on a consistent basis. I desperately want to be a prolific artist. That's what I wanted to talk about with you all. There are these like giant birds over here that I'm gonna try and film, and I'll do an apartment tour as well. Can you see them? They're so cool. I don't know what they are. I need to get out my like birding app, but I'll post the name of the species once I find it. There's two of them. I think it might be a male and a female. They're so cool. Time for an apartment tour. This is the bedroom. We've got a big window here with a fire escape. The morning light here is really great. I've got makeup stuff, bed on the floor. I've always had the mattress on the floor. I kind of like it that way. And then here is my work setup. I don't have an office chair yet, but I do have some of my art materials here. Okay, then moving through, we have the bathroom, a little window there. You know, it's got a toilet, it's got a sink, got some art, some more art. And then moving through the hallway, we have the kitchen, really small little galley kitchen. We put up shelves here, spice rack here, lots of IKEA furnishings here, and we got a little counter space. Green onions that I'm trying to grow in some water. This is the dining area. This is the entryway. So this is where you walk in, and there's actually a couple closets. So there's like 3 closets here. Part of the reason we like went for this apartment is because of the closets. Got some more storage here. This is also IKEA. And then this is the living room. We bought a couch. We get really great natural light through this window. Got some shelves here. TV, record player. Chair we also found on the side of the road. Also IKEA. I got a new cushion for it. New rug. Yeah, this is it. This is our little home. I'm trying to figure out, maybe you all have some ideas of what to do with this big wall here. I can't decide. I mean, I'd love to put art there. I just don't have enough art to fill the space right now. So figuring that out. Yeah, it's really come together. Hi again. So now that we've finished our little nature walk and snack time, I want to talk with you about my studio practice, my art practice here in New York, how it's been going, things that I've been trying, learning, thinking about, etc. At the beginning of the year, I had shown you guys this yearly planner where I was putting a sticker for every day that I had made art for at least 15 minutes, and that was kind of like my New Year's resolution, was to make art for 15 minutes every day. And up until the move, I was pretty consistent. I think I have stars on every day up until the move, and then the move happened, and I'm not gonna lie, totally fell off that practice. What I've learned through that whole kind of process is that every day for me is probably just a little bit unrealistic, and that's okay. And I'm glad I learned that. I work full-time doing not art related things, and so as much as I want to make art a priority in my life, with the way that my life is just set up right now, it's just not going to happen. Also during a move, it's probably just not going to happen. I've been continuing to listen to the podcast A Mighty Practice, hosted by Christine Garvey. I've talked about it in previous videos here. And there was an episode I listened to during this time where I like wasn't really making things and wasn't consistent in my practice, and there were 2 episodes that actually kind of like go together, I think, with this. And one of them is that she was talking about like the creative process and how there are like different stages in the creative process, and some of those stages, like one of those stages is like clearing your workspace, which on the surface you wouldn't think of as part of like a creative practice, but it is. It like clearing your space and making space for your practice is part of the practice. In addition, like research is part of the practice. And when I was doing, the stickers on the calendar, I wasn't really considering like doing research as part of the practice. Like I only would put a sticker on the calendar if I was actually like drawing, painting, etc. And in my practice, I have to have time to like distill ideas and read things, and like the things that I read and write about do kind of inform my artistic practice. So I have to, like, those things also are part of the practice. And so I guess throughout these past few months, I've kind of reconceptualized what is an artistic practice. I'll link that podcast in the description, but the other podcast episode that relates to this that really changed my perspective was one called Your Expectations of Your Art. Christine just asked some really great questions in this podcast, where basically the essence of it was, if you're putting all these expectations on your art, it's going to probably make it harder for you to sit down and work on anything, because in the back of your mind there's your art needs to make money, all the expectations that you have for it, whatever those might be, and it needs to like appeal to your Instagram audience, it needs to get this number of likes, it needs to like, you have these expectations. Even if you think you're sitting down to like be playful, if those expectations are there, they're going to have an impact on your practice. So the thing she said that really like stuck with, you need to let your art first be in service to your life before it can do anything else. So it is less about performance and more about service. So she asks you to kind of make a list of all the expectations you have of your art, like where, like the things you feel like it should feel like, where you want it to be shown, who you want to respect it, how it fits in with trends. Do you expect to sell it? Do you expect it to be a certain medium, etc.? And then make another list of things that like you want to feel right now. What tools are most interesting or exciting to you? What do you want to pay more attention to? And that second set of questions really just like made me think, because even though I'm just starting out in my artistic practice, I already had all these expectations for like what I want my art to do for me. And that second set of questions, like thinking about especially like what do you want to pay more attention to, like that is a huge part of my practice, is like that art allows me to pay attention to things and see things differently. So yeah, I like that instead of like making my practice something that like has a lot of expectations tied to it, especially right now, like I just want the art to be in service of the feelings that I need to feel right now. And throughout this move, the feeling that I've needed to like get in touch with is groundedness, really. Like I've felt so unsettled for so many months, and our stuff's here and that's awesome, and we've gotten so much set up, but I've still felt like I need to just feel more grounded, more settled. And that's sort of this shift that's happened in my brain, that I've started to use my practice to get in touch with the feelings that I want to feel right now. The main point of this podcast was like to think less about what you want your work to do and more about how it can serve you in this moment, less about destination and more just about directions. This is like a lesson that I continue to learn over and over and over again in different ways. I don't know, I think it's helpful for artists to share kind of like the things they've been thinking about and like how their practice has shifted and their mindset shifts. And that's just one thing that has shifted for me in the past few months. I have been in my sketchbook a little bit more. I have been taking just like a beginner drawing class in Central Park. So I have like some sketches in my sketchbook from that. That was just like a graphite pencil drawing. The thing I appreciate the most about the class is just that it gets me out of the house and it gets me working with materials that I normally wouldn't work with. This was from last week, a tree that we were drawing. This was with charcoal. I've never really used charcoal before, or at least not that I can remember, and I had such a fun time smudging things with my hands. I actually really like how this one turned out. I've been doing things that kind of are like a little meditation, and so I work on these things basically when I'm like after a long day's work. I'm sitting like in front of the TV even, and I can kind of just like mindlessly draw. So I've been loving drawing these like braided circles in different colors, and just, you know, being okay with like repeating the same shapes over and over and over again. That's been kind of grounding and meditative for me. That has basically been my practice in the past few months, is just what's the feeling I want to get in touch with right now, and how can the art be in service to that.